Welcome to Gardening with Heidi. Today we're going to talk about some of the benefits between growing your own things from seed, your grown plants from seed, or if you go to a store and buy them. Now you want to be cautionary about buying certain plants in big box stores like Lowe's or Home Depot. Reason being, I even got tricked myself. I knew that they did certain things to their plants, but I didn't read the labels enough. So if you are in those big box stores, you want to make sure that you're reading the labels, and let me just tell you what I mean by that. So if you want to come on in here, I saw these are violas. These are Johnny Jump Ups. They're edible, so you can actually eat these in your salads, and I love having this cute flower just in my around the areas, and then you can just pick those up and eat them. However, this plant has been pre-treated, and it's actually a pollinator disruptor, I think, for bees, and I guess deer they're designed to not eat them, so I think Monsanto has somehow genetically incorporated some sort of something in there, so it's not good. So it's not for human consumption. So I bought this whole flat thinking I was getting a head start because I didn't grow them from seed. I wasn't on track. I thought I would just go the easy route, but guess what? I shouldn't plant those at all. So I'll probably be taking those back, okay? Second, you might go to one of those stores and find these nice little easy flats. They have 12 cells here, so you have 12 plant starts, which is nice if you're doing some pots, because you can put 3 in a pot and 3 and kind of split it up and get some variation in there. So you have lots of nice little individual, I can pull one out here, some nice root structure already, and you can plant those and space them accordingly and let them grow in full color, and you can kind of design what you like. So it's nice, it's a little bit more cost effective. However, your variety of color choice might be limited. So actually this was the color I wanted in this, but they didn't have it there. They only had this big plant. So I bought the big one, and what I'm going to do is propagate from this larger plant. I think this plant, so this one was $14.98 and this one was $11.48. This is actually a lot bigger plant. It's more established. It's probably a little bit older, and I can actually turn this into probably 4 of these. So cost effectively, it's a lot better to maybe get a bigger plant like this and then propagate it a little bit for yourself just to get the roots going, and then you'll have a lot better chance of that. So I'm going to show you how to do that in case if you go to your store and you can't find the color varieties you want in the smaller individual cells, but have this bigger one. And I'm going to show you next how to do that so that you can have the color varieties that you want in your garden. Today, right now, we're going to demonstrate how to just mix a really quick, fast, easy soil amendment that is going to be used for plants that you are propagating from cuttings. So one, you just want it to have a lot of drainage and hold a little bit of moisture. So it's it's very light and airy. It's not going to be heavy and hold too much moisture. So I'm going to be using 3 products today. I'm going to be doing the vermiculite and some peat moss. So for my seed starting, little seed starting get up that I have in my garage, it's been very productive, and what I want to do is just fill this up with this mixture, so I have it all sealed up and ready to go in my garage. So when I have one tray out and I need another one, I don't have to keep mixing this every time. So I'm just going to do this for myself today. So I have about this much filled with peat moss. It was just basically the end of one of my bags, so we're going to try to do maybe 50-50 with peat moss and vermiculite. Now this brand of vermiculite, the Virgoro, I got this at Home Depot, and it's a huge bag, and I went to Lowe's and got a bag that was probably 1/4 of this size for the same price. So you're definitely going to want to look for this brand and get this quantity and save some money that way. So again, this is it's just a natural mineral. Be careful not to breathe in any of that dust. You kind of want to hold your breath when you're pouring it. I'm not going to make it too high because I have to mix it up a little bit. All right, and I'm going to put a little bit of earthworms castings in here. This is going to help it get a little bit of nutrients to keep growing. Now we're going to have it in a controlled environment again where it's going to have nice warm soil, moisture, and then sunlight. So we're going to give it a little bit of nutrients here. I'm just going to cover the top. Earthworm castings are a great natural organic fertilizer. So now we're going to just take a trowel and mix it up a little bit. Remember not to breathe in any of those mineral powders. This is going to be a very light and airy medium. So we will just continue mixing this until it's all mixed up, and then we're going to head over and I'm going to show you how to propagate that petunia that we talked about earlier. All right, so if you have a wheelbarrow, I just took it and just dumped it in here actually because it was just too difficult to mix it up, and then it just naturally mixed itself up. You can see it's nice and airy, so I might as well fill up these pots over this so I don't make a mess all over the table over there. So we're just going to cover these pots up like this. And we're going to get some petunias started, and I'm also going to have a couple papayas that we did earlier in a previous video that are getting kind of tall. They're kind of stagnant in their growth, so they need to be put in bigger pots or put in the ground, and I think we'll just go with this. So we're going to head on over to the table. Yeah, all right, we're going to head over to the table and I'm going to show you how to propagate petunias. Okay, so now the light is cooperating with us. So we have our beautiful petunia bush, and while we were waiting for this, for the sun to actually get out of my eyes, I actually started with the transplanting of these, and I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. And I did, however, we got some bad news. I was going to transplant some of those papayas, but my papayas are way too wet to transplant, and I think I'll just do way too much root damage in the transplanting. So we're just going to fill this whole tray up with this beautiful petunia. So you're going to need your pruners, and remember, every time you do something with your pruners, you should always hit it with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and what that's going to do is it's going to disinfect the blade, and so that diseases do not transfer from plant to plant. So plants are just like humans. They can get diseases and get things that cause them to not thrive. So I'm going to let that air dry a little bit. So as you can see, we've filled up this tray almost halfway, and this plant will thrive and flush out, and we won't even notice that we had all this additional plants. So what's great about this is I'm going to take these to my community garden and pluck them in different areas around my raised beds and just add some nice color and to that area. So very good. So what you're going to do is we are going to be using our rooting powder. Rooting powder, what it does is it pretty much tells the plant to grow roots, and it is a beneficial bacteria that will go on the plant and in the soil, and so I'm going to show you how to do that. But that's going to help the stem push out some new growth and with some roots. If you don't have rooting powder, you can also use some honey. Now you got to make sure that it's real honey. And the honey that I get comes from a beekeeper. I know it's real, I know it's not treated, and so it's like real natural honey that hasn't been pasteurized or anything. So you definitely want to do the unfiltered, unpasteurized honey that doesn't have any added things that are with the bees and things like that. So what you're going to want to do, you can find one of these stalks that are coming out, one of these, just grab one. You know, you don't have to be too specific. You want to kind of cut it close to where it's cutting off. So you're going to see you have this nice stem. So whenever you do make a cut on the plant, you don't want to touch it with your fingers because your oils can get in there. So I just wanted you to see that. So we're going to want to cut it at an angle. So you want like a 45-degree angle. And then we're going to start removing all these lower leaves. Now where all of these are, and once you put that rooting hormone on there, roots, new growth will come out of there as roots instead of leaves. So I'm just going to keep going up the stem like this, getting rid of all of this plant material. This plant material, while it's fleshing out new roots to sustain itself, doesn't need all of these leaves. These leaves will have a lot of evaporation going on in the plant, so it just needs a little bit to do photosynthesis. So we're just going to keep cutting them off. You can pick them off with your fingers if you want. Now you definitely, I know these are beautiful flowers, but you do not want to have any flower buds on there while you're trying to root something, because these flowers are going to take energy from the plant, and you don't want energy going into the flowers and making seed. You need energy to make roots. So to make the roots, you're going to grab your rooting powder, and my rooting powder is getting a little low, so I'm going to kind of angle it and kind of get it around. I want to get it up as high as I can. And then you shake off the rooting powder. Make sure to not inhale any. Okay. So there it is. So it did cover this node here, which is good. They'll get some roots out of there. Then you just place it straight down into the soil, like that. Now you want the soil to be lower than the crown of where the lowest leaf is. So you're going to want to hold that plant up and push down nice and firm all that soil. That soil is light, it's fluffy. We're going to water this in at the very end, but you want to kind of make it nice and tight around that lowest leaf. You don't want to cover any leaves because you can get leaf rot in there and it'll just get, so if you see any, I can actually pinch it off with my fingers. I don't want any of those leaves right down at the base where the soil is, because they can get too moist and fungus and little diseases can go in, and then it can rot out that stem right there. So I want that stem to be nice and healthy. So I can still maybe take off a couple more of these leaves. Okay, all right, so that's one. So you kind of get the idea. We'll do one more just so you can kind of see. This petunia is doing really well. It was a really nice one. So again, you just make a cut. Now, this one has some growth coming out in several places. So what I can do is I can cut this part out so that it's just pushing energy into one side. So we can just cut here. We're going to cut that off. Anywhere where we make a cut or a little scar there is gonna, the plant's gonna wanna then, if it's under the soil and in the darkness, it's gonna produce roots instead of leaves. So that's good. So all of these little nodes, if we can get some dusting powder on there too. Remember, even though it's a nice flower, you just gently pick it up. Couple leaves, you only need a couple leaves on the top for photosynthesis, not many at all. We're gonna put the rooting powder in there. I gotta kind of turn it on its side because it's getting low. And you can just gently roll it over it. Remember to shake. You can't really see it. Yeah, there we go. It's on those nice hairs and things, so. And then you just gently push it straight in again. And then you're gonna push that soil nice and firmly down. Once we water that in, that's going to help that soil compact even more. But as you can see, we still have a very healthy, mature plant that's going to continue to grow and bloom, and we can transplant this in and have this wonderful color. And then we can have all of these additional plants to spread out. And so that is just how you can maximize your dollar if you're going to buy from a store, and or get the color variety that you want if they don't have it in the individual cells. So go for it. So it's going to be exciting. I'm going to put this under my lights, but remember, you do want to water this. So I'm going to show you, when you water it, and whenever you're watering your plants, you don't want to, if you can avoid getting any of the foliage wet, that's good. This isn't the best watering apparatus here, but I'm just going to water this in real gently. I don't want to get a lot of water on the flowers, so just do a really low stream. And then I'm going to actually put this inside on my grow lights, inside my garage, and it has a heated heating pad on the bottom. So it's going to keep that soil nice and warm, and I'll be able to really make sure that I can keep the soil at a moist, warm temperature, so we have optimal root growth. And then it's also getting the sunlight spectrum to produce roots and foliage. So I hope you've learned how to propagate your flowers that you might be able to get from your box store or your local nursery, so that you can take a little and make a lot to make your garden beautiful. So remember, if you like what you're seeing, hit that like button, subscribe, share it with a friend, leave a comment. Petunias are fun. They're really easy, and they have some really nice colors. So keep gardening.